Record. Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Jennifer. I'm the VP Student Life of the SFSS, and hopefully everybody has heard of the SFSS before, but if you haven't, we're basically SFU's undergraduate student society, and we represent all the undergraduate students at SFU. We actually have a lot of fun events. We also provide services like the UPass, Health and Dental Plan, etc. We have our annual general meeting coming up, and I highly recommend checking out this document. I'm linking in the chat right now. I spent hours working on it because I made all these memes for it and everything. I made a Spotify playlist. I made a bunch of TikToks. So please RSVP to our annual general meeting. That document has all the details. It's next Monday, October 26th at 3:30 p.m. Okay, so I will hand it over to the health and counseling folks to do the introductions, and then we can get started.
Yeah, hello everyone. I am going to share a quick screen, so if you can give me one moment. Alrighty.
Maybe we can introduce the kitty.
Yes, Harp, please introduce your kitty while I get this set up.
So everybody, this guy's name is Baloo, and I named him after my favorite character from the Jungle Book. And he's born August 2nd. So he's a Leo zodiac sign. So he's a fiery little lion.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and he's just so cuddly. He's not a typical cat. He likes to cuddle and purr and be around his human. Right? And he's got one black eyeliner, and then one pink eyeliner, like two almond shaped eyes, but two different colors.
Oh, that's adorable. I can see the screen, but I can see two slides at once. Is that what it's supposed to show? I think you muted.
Yeah, I am going through technical difficulties, but that is okay.
I can introduce myself.
Yeah.
My name is Harp, everyone, and I'm one of two access case managers at Health and Counseling Services. You guys may have seen us through advertising for the drop-in advising and live chat. So yeah, lovely to see all of you today.
Can I ask a question? What exactly is an access case manager? I think it's a new position, right?
It is a new position. So an access case manager. So what we do is provide, I want to make this, okay. So what we do, we have three different appointment types. We could provide you guys with access appointments, drop in for same day appointments for current and immediate needs. And we also support in impromptu diffusing and support. So what do? We actually we create access to supports to ensure that students that are seeking care feel validated and connected. So we're available for same day support and short-term follow-up where appropriate.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
We can find more information on the SFU Health and Counseling website, I'm sure, right?
Most definitely.
Perfect. And it looks like the PowerPoint is all sorted out, so I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for your patience as we figure that out. Thank you, Harp, for introducing yourself, part of the HCS. So my name is Hussein. I am a health promotion special project assistant with the health promotion team here at SFU. So I've been assisting in a lot of the projects with health promotion in terms of supporting student well-being, as well as trying my best to advocate for the student body and ensuring that your needs are met during this online learning environment. So we're really hoping that this workshop today will you know, start a conversation to help better everyone's online learning experience in the next few months that we are in this pandemic. So before we get started, I also wanted to do a land acknowledgement, regardless of the fact that we are not on campus and we are in our homes. It's important to understand the lands that we're on and you know, think thoroughly through that. So specifically, I'm going to speak on behalf of SFU. SFU is on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish, as well as Coquitlam First Nations. There are a lot of opportunities for you to look at where you're situated in terms of what Indigenous lands you are on. And I will be sharing that link in the next few slides and maybe at the end of the presentation for you to understand and just take into account whose lands you're on, who you're studying on, and moving forward, how best we can support all communities. So an overview of today, we're trying not to make sure that this isn't a lecture workshop where you sit and listen to myself and Harp speak. We want to make sure that you're all contributing to this in whatever capacity you feel comfortable. So a few of the overview pieces of what we'll be speaking about today in the next hour are number one, building your well-being toolkit by enhancing resilience skills, as well as other topics that include self-compassion, normalcy bias, as well as you know, general wellness in the online environment. You're going to be given the opportunity to share with your peers how you're navigating online learning and maintaining your well-being. And lastly, we'll be going over HCS, or Health and Counseling Services supports that are available to you, as well as new services that have become available to you because of the shift into online learning environments. So we wanted to do a quick check-in activity because we don't want to make this a huge lecture. And feel free to be using the chat function, or you can unmute yourself or put your camera on to answer these questions. So feel free to answer any three of them. I'm just going to read them out quickly. So number one is, what have you been enjoying so far in online learning and why? I know Jennifer talked about you know, having some benefits to online learning as well as some difficulties. And the second question is, what are you finding so difficult about this entire shift in online learning, as well as what makes you feel connected with others during this time? So if you're in the chat, maybe put a number before you answer the question, or if you want to answer all of them, please feel free to, and I'll give you a few minutes to respond.
I guess while people are typing, I can answer a few of these questions myself. So far with online learning, I've been loving it because everything is super accessible. All the lectures are pretty much recorded, and I can watch them at however speed I want. And I can replay them, I can play them slower, and it's really nice to have that accessibility available. If lectures are on YouTube, sometimes there's automatic captioning, which also helps. And I can work around my own schedule. We have some comments in the chat that I can just read out. So a student says, I like staying home to be able to work out, make food, and be around my cats. I'm finding it difficult to not feel like I need to work all the time and still connect with other people. Yeah, I just do my schoolwork, all of my work in my room, but that's also where I sleep, where I eat and everything. So it's sometimes hard to like distinguish between work and relax time. So yeah. Ooh, someone else says online learning makes my schedule easier to manage, finding it difficult to connect, however. Well, thank you for coming to this workshop or this event. Hopefully we'll give you some resources that can help you in the future. Someone else is saying, for the first question, I like being able to participate via writing sometimes. Like I said, it's so accessible when you can just type stuff in the chat so you don't have to feel pressured to speak up. For number two, oh
Great, we're getting so many responses.
Yay. Yeah, so number two, I find it hard to keep track of everything when it's online. Yeah. I also find it hard to connect to others. I don't really get to meet new people or get that social interaction. That's what SFSS_events is for. We have so many events, but sadly not a lot of people come. So I would really appreciate it if you can come to our events when you can. We have trivia nights, we have a Stranger Things murder mystery night, all sorts of fun things. Check out SFSS_events on Instagram for more information. Sorry, that sounded like a commercial break. Okay, so the next response says, enjoying not someone's enjoying saving time by not commuting, but forgetting to take breaks and dissociating is what's difficult. And attending various events organized by SFU helps them feel connected. Yeah, someone else is agreeing with me. Rewatching lectures and working at their own pace. But sometimes it's hard to find motivation to do work sometimes since the home and school lives takes place in the same location. But some people in their program have a Discord where we've been hanging out sometimes. First year is hard. Oh, what's your program? That's so nice that they have a Discord for that. Oh my gosh, I want to be a CAT student so badly, but it's too late for me. But I love design so much. It seems so intense. But yeah, it's great to have that community. I think every single program has a community. There's one for like out on campus, one for like all the different faculties. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer, for moderating that section. And thank you everyone for adding your comments. I think one really interesting point is that we're all sharing very similar experiences as remote students. So it's been, hopefully with these questions, we can see that there is some camaraderie in the struggle. And again, feel free to be adding more answers or kind of reading through these if we haven't gotten through. Harp, did you want to add any comments about what some of our students have said?
No, I think I'm okay for now. Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful. So, I think this is my slide, Harp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I really wanted to add in this slide. As a student, I also have to take this reminder. I'm a fifth year health science student, and it's really easy to get into this mindset that your plan has been set from first year or from your first semester or wherever that may be. And your academic success and your learning is one single trajectory that you'll graduate in 4 years, or you'll take X class in a certain semester. And the reality of that is there might be some dips in the progress and challenges that you may face that you might not be aware of. And so I think this is where health and counseling services, but also the workshops that we do, as well as just being more aware of your mental well-being in preparation for those challenges, is really important. So we're all taking the first step in being more preventative in ensuring that we can all succeed and be academically successful, but also spiritually, emotionally, mentally successful, even past university.
And all to add, building skills in prevention and promotion of well-being will help you navigate the path that we see on the top screen much more easily. Because initially, that's how we want to assume and think that that's what life will be like if we have a plan. Whereas in reality, life can feel like the bottom trajectory. So you guys coming here today is a great tool to build skills in the prevention and promotion of your mental health and well-being. So kudos to everyone here.
So all of these experiences and lessons in terms of surviving the challenges that go with a university career is the concept of resilience. So resilience can mean different things to different people. Here are some words that we have collected or students have collected that compile what resilience means to them. So if we're going through some of the words, things like capacity, elasticity, growth and change, recovery, adaptation to a certain situation. So a literal or a definition of resilience is our ability to bounce back from failures, difficulties, or remain effective during low points in our life. It allows us to maintain a positive mindset throughout challenging times. It is our ability to properly adapt to stress and adversity.
Thank you. Yeah, so resilience, what is resilience? So resilience is not just about your ability to pick yourself up, dust yourself off and move on. I always think about that, brush the dust off, right? Move on, but rather allowing yourself to actually feel, work and grow stronger through the hardships. This practice enhances resiliency. Okay, there are two important things that we want to share with you about resilience. The first is that it's something you can build over time. Okay, so I'm gonna re-emphasize that. The first is that it is something you can build over time. Many people think that resilience is something you either have or you don't have, but that's actually not true. In fact, there are many things you can do to build resiliency, and I'll actually work on your ability and capacity for resilience as well. Okay. Secondly, like everyone else in life, when we practice and work really hard at a particular skill, we are able to develop it into strength. Resilience is very similar to that. Through the session today, we're going to be sharing evidence-based strategies. These tips and tools are going to help promote resiliency. Okay, it's like training a marathon. It's not something you just attend at a session on once and then you know it all. It's something that you are going to have to practice and train on a regular basis and build on these strategies into the way that you approach your life. A tip that I just want to share is whenever I'm part of a talk or I'm every single day, I like to consider myself a student. So write notes. If you have questions right now, write them down even as we go through the session, and we'll be able to assist you at the end. Okay, but take some notes as you go through this, and if something sticks to you, write it down as a helpful reminder. So why does this stuff matter? Resilience is a key component for success. Resilience is about having healthy skills and insights that will help you have more control over your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Because resiliency is actually going to be an important part of regulating all the emotions that we feel, managing the stress and anxiety that we encounter, how we communicate with one another. So it's going to also strengthen our interpersonal skills. It's going to help us with critical thinking and problem solving in our everyday life. Okay.
So after speaking a little bit about resilience, the definition as well as some examples on the ways that we have been building resilience, I want to just give an opportunity for all of you to reflect a little bit on how you have been building resilience over the course of your undergrad, or even before that. You thinking about your entire life. And broadening that out more. Resilience isn't just resilience through academic challenges, but it's also resilience through life challenges that we have been facing, we are facing, and will continue facing. So again, this is an opportunity for you to think about and type in the chat ways that you have been building resiliency over the course of your life. Here on the list in the slide, we added some suggestions or examples of ways that people have been building resiliency. So making connections, so advancing at your social capital, ask for help when needed, taking care of your own well-being. So that's an action towards building resilience. exercising self-compassion, shifting perspectives, which we'll be talking a little bit about. So reshifting your mindset so that you're able to better adapt to challenges that come, as well as exercising self-awareness. So I'll give everyone maybe 2 minutes if you'd like to add to the chat, or if you're more comfortable speaking, you can also do that too.
I have a question. So, for some of these points, you write taking care of your well-being, exercising self-compassion. For example, does that mean like, let's say I failed a paper or something, would exercising self-compassion be like, oh, I can work harder next time? Or is it more like, oh, it's okay, like everybody fails sometimes? What would exercising self-compassion look like?
Yeah, so Harp, you can also add into this if you'd like. But yeah, I think exercising self-compassion can mean different things for different people. So depending on the scenario, it's really if taking into the big picture that this one course or this one exam may be part of the entire process, then that is part of resilience and self-compassion. Just, reflecting on your experience and reflecting on that. In the process of reflection, you're also understanding that, what steps can I do to improve my scenario, or being less hard on yourself to a point where you can further your cycle of stress, because I think that's really easy for students to become to add to their overwhelmed feelings and anxiety, stress over test anxiety and those kinds of things. Harp, if you'd like to add anything.
Yeah, for sure. Just to add on that, self-compassion can actually yield a lot of benefits. Research indicates that it can lower your levels of anxiety and depression. And once you have more insight to the self-compassionate side, self-compassionate people begin to recognize when they're actually suffering, and then they become more kind to themselves when they are experiencing symptoms of anxiety, which in turn reduces their anxiety and related depression. And so, it gives us an opportunity to think about, well, how do I practice self-compassion? And that is very different person to person. So allow yourself to reflect on that. Start small. Bring awareness to your experience without judgment. Okay. And I say that, and I emphasize that very strongly. Not comparing your pain into others. I always have clients, and I'm going to share this in full confidence. Clients sometimes, and we do it all the time too. I've done it in the past, where you'll compare to, well, it's not as bad as what's happening out in India, for example. That's where my family is originally from. I have it good. I'm in Canada. But really, no. If you're going through something, bring awareness to your experience without judgment. Don't bring all those outside voices that's going to kind of disrupt that self-compassionate process. So get curious about it, and interrupt those ruminations by refocusing. So if you see yourself comparing your pain with others, or you see yourself minimizing your pain, start to refocus and be curious about what's happening to your experience. Explore your exceptions. Focus on self-compassionate statements. For example, I am worthy, I am lovable, I am capable, I am strong. Write a letter to yourself, and always remember that you're not alone. But this is very unique to each person. So again, start small and bring awareness to your experience without judgment. Okay.
Okay, I wanted to quickly read out what some people had said in the chat first. So I said I take study breaks so that I don't burn out. Someone else said, I've been honest with my friends about how I've been doing, and they have been opening up too. It's good to know that you aren't the only one who's stressed. And I said, I love class group chats for that, because sometimes I'll feel like I'm the only one who's struggling with an assignment, and I check a group chat and everyone else is struggling. So we're like in it together. And it's nice to know that I'm not alone. And then someone else says that they've been focused on getting good sleep and started reading again a bit more to remove themselves from social media. And we have a question as well. Someone, like, you gave all these great tips for how to be more self-compassionate, but some people, like, we know all of this, but it's still hard to like put it into action and be self-compassionate, and they might feel like it's a little fake. Is it more of like a fake it till you make it thing, or do you have any other tips on how to be more self-compassionate?
I would really encourage you, the fake it till you make it doesn't allow you to feel those emotions. It doesn't really allow you to experience those vulnerabilities that we all experience at some time, And as I said earlier, when we practice self-compassion, it lowers the symptoms of anxiety and depression and overwhelmingness. So is the meaning of self-compassion. Self-compassion is what it's that warm understanding and kindness that we bring to ourselves when we're suffering rather than ignoring our pain. And so I'm going to repeat that again, because I think we all as human beings struggle with self-compassion. We rather go do and not take care of ourselves or take a break, right? So self-compassion is the warm understanding that we have towards ourselves when we're suffering, when we're failing, when we're not feeling adequate, rather than ignoring your pain. So perhaps if we all want to engage, if someone wants to engage and maybe disclose, is there something that happened this week for somebody here that made them feel not so good? An example I could give you was my cat, actually my kitty, was sneezing, and I felt really, really bad about that. I thought, oh my goodness, like, I don't really have time to deal with this. What do I do? Like, I'm not feeling really good about myself as a cat mom, for example, right? And so in that moment, it's about exercising that warm commitment to myself by taking a deep breath, grounding myself, and encouraging myself that it's going to be okay, and that I can take next steps to get them better. Another example, like I said earlier, is bring awareness to your experience without judgment. Really focus on, I'm not feeling good today. I might need to take a break. I might need to stretch for a bit. I might need to write down how I'm feeling because I'm not understanding why I'm feeling sad today, because you might not know. So it's really important to start small, get curious, and bring awareness to your experience without judgment. And self-compassion looks very different from person to person, because I like to paint, I like to draw, I like to write in my journal. Some people may like to meditate and exercise and maybe go for a run, or they might just want to listen to their favorite band or play a video game. How do you practice self-compassion?
It sounds kind of like you're describing like taking a break, basically. Is that kind of the same thing? Self-compassion and taking a break?
Self-compassion and taking a break can actually go hand in hand, but they're two different. Self-compassion is really about recognizing when you're suffering. Self-compassion is to give yourself, to be kind to yourself during the times of stress, during the times of when you're feeling quite overwhelmed, when you're not feeling so good about yourself. What does self-compassion mean to you guys?
Oh, someone commented, definitely feel the self-compassion. This week was stressful with midterms. Yeah. I think after midterm season, I'm just gonna like chill out and just do what I enjoy. Yeah, so feel free to
And self-compassion, just to extend on that, it's really about forgiving and nurturing yourself for a better stage of health and relationship. So being forgiving, being nurturing to yourself, being self-compassionate when you're suffering. And how do you become more self-compassionate? It's very different person to person. Some people need to comfort their body, to eat something, maybe take a break and eat something. Maybe you need to write a love letter to yourself. So you know, to tell yourself how worthy you are. Give yourself encouragement. You know, I have on my door before I leave my house, like, I hope you have a great day. You know, just something simple to remind yourself that you're going to be okay and that your day is going to go really well.
that reminds me of love languages. Mine is acts of service. So if somebody, like, I can even do my chores before, like the night before, and then when I wake up in the morning, I feel so much better. For people who's like, it could be quality time, so spending time with yourself, just chilling, and then there's words of affirmation. So you were talking about like writing a nice letter to yourself. But okay, also we have another comment. Someone is saying, since I have the tendency to hyper-organize and overwork, for me, it's resting when my body and mind are telling me I need to. I find I need to block time into my day to take care of myself and relax. That's great. I hope you're doing a lot of that after midterm season.
Yeah, you know, I really appreciate that last comment. That just takes me into practicing the importance of practicing mindfulness. You know, it's a non-judgmental observation that we have towards our own thoughts and feelings and actions without trying to suppress or deny them. So when you look, so for example, when you're looking in the mirror and you don't like what you see, accept the bad with the good, with the compassionate attitude.
Yeah, I think that was was rounded out everything really great. Thank you everyone for sharing that, sharing your experiences with self-compassion. Again, this is the reason why we do these workshops, is because self-compassion might be a very, very important point in this specific week of October where everyone's doing midterms. So yeah, just want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, most definitely.
So social connection, I think this is you, Harp.
Yeah. So I love this quote. It's one of my favorite authors, social worker, researcher. Her name is Brene Brown. I'd encourage you guys to look her up. She is an advocate on connection. And one of her quotes indicates that it's connection is the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued. So there was a recent study on a Harvard study it's a study that I was going to read about, but I want us to go down and perhaps go into an activity, if that's okay. Because I think we'll be participating in a social support activity. So students will be mapping out their social support network and identifying different social resources that are accessible to them. Because I think in the previous slide, we really emphasized on the importance of self-compassion. And now I want us to kind of extend on to social connection. And the way it's defined is it's the energy that exists between people when they're feeling seen, when they're heard, and they're valued. And so if we go into the next slide, it really goes, this is a really good segue before our break, because physical distancing and self-isolating has really resulted in a decrease in physical activity. So not being able to see our friends or coworkers, family, classmates. So how are you guys during this time maintaining a social connection? So I want to give you guys about 1 or 2 minutes to just think about some ideas and then share one method that you're using before opening the mic to this, before opening the mic, or you can actually have the option to use the chat function as well.
So just to recap, we're typing down, or we're just saying how we're maintaining social connection
Exactly.
in the chat. Okay.
And Hussein and I do also have a couple of, we do have some tips, but we want to gauge you guys into this first.
Well, I typed in the chat already. I wrote playing the game Among Us with my friends. And oh, someone else also says Among Us and Zoom. More people play Among Us. Been doing a lot of FaceTime calls, playing Among Us or Cards Against Humanity, even just having people on a call while working. Ooh, study calls, my favorite.
Yeah, Among Us is quite a popular game now.
What is
I'm not
Among Us?
surprised.
Oh my, I've been
Among
meaning.
Jennifer, I'll leave it to you to do some
Oh,
explaining on that if you want to
I mean,
summarize it very quickly.
I was just gonna go off on a tangent and say I've been meaning to crochet a cute little Among Us plushie. I haven't done it yet, but I will. Oh wait, somebody says I'll explain Among Us after I read out the chat comments. Someone says they use WhatsApp, sometimes phone calls. Harp, you said Netflix watch party with friends, virtual group workout. Oh, and virtual lunch dates and study together virtually. But Among Us is basically like this mafia type game. Do you know Mafia or Werewolf?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's just like that, except it's on your phone or it's on a laptop. Most people play it on their phone. And you can do tasks, and also there's like an imposter that kills the crewmates. But if all of the crewmates finish all their tasks before the imposter gets to them, then they can win. There's all sorts of rules to it, but it's really fun.
Thank you for sharing that, Jennifer.
I miss that. I've been playing Donkey Kong. I don't know if you guys love those kind of games. I'm from that generation here. I love Donkey Kong, and they just recently came up with a new version of it. So I've been playing that.
I think I used to be a huge gamer when I was a kid, but not so much anymore. Like I had Roblox, Neopets, Wizard 101. I didn't have Minecraft because you had to pay for it. I played so much. Miniclip, Nitrom. Wow.
Yeah, mini clip. Do you remember the game Crypt Raider?
No, I don't think I've ever played it. That sounds cool.
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for sharing your thoughts. Harp actually mentioned if you look in the chat, some of the options we were going to mention, which was the virtual group workouts, virtual lunch dates, and studying together virtually. So I can see that a few of you are already doing that, which means you are all super adaptive students, and so these are really good traits to have. They're just examples to maintain social support. I think it's really easy to feel the loneliness if you were a campus rat like me, where I would spend more time on campus than I would at home, and all of a sudden you're home every day. So these are really good opportunities for you to Zoom virtually or play Among Us or um, other ways to feel connected to your own community or to people around you, while not being able to people watch on campus, which is something I miss personally. So thank you for that. We are going to go into a stretch break / eye break. We don't have too much longer for the presentation, so I'm gonna go through a quick eye break. What I'm gonna get all of you to do is, if you're looking at the screen, I want you to look away, hopefully out into a window or natural light, or really anything but your screen. So I'm not gonna look at the screen, and we're just gonna close and open our eyes and focus on different things around the room. If you'd like, I can give everyone 30 seconds to be turning your head side to side. You've been staring at a screen, so up and down. I'm not a fitness instructor or a yoga instructor. However, this is what I've been doing to maintain my eye health. Alrighty, back to the screen. I hope that helped a little bit.
I think that was the first eye break I've taken at all today.
Okay, well, make sure we're all doing that a lot more often. We all spend way more time on the computer and on screens now in virtual learning. So these eye health breaks are really important. What we usually practice in health promotion is a 20-20 rule. So 20 minutes, or I think it's 20-20-20. So 20 minutes working and 20 minutes break, or maybe it's 25. So it's 20-minute work and then 5-minute eye health break, and then you go back to your 25. So the moral of the story is really to just give your eyes that break. If you have glasses like me, you'll feel the irritation, and taking your glasses off, or washing your face with cold water just to refresh your eyes, because that is a really important part of your overall physical well-being. Speaking of physical health, or physical well-being. We're moving on to the physical health part. So this is another opportunity for you to think about physical health in an online learning environment. So instead of walking around campus, what are you doing to get those steps in the day? So what I want to involve you in is another opportunity to share in the chat. What are some ways you have been maintaining your physical health? Take a couple minutes again in the chat. We'll read them out. For me, physical health wise, I've been taking up like runs that are, I call them runs because I do them 1 week and then I take a break and I try to get back into it, just because I'm not on campus. And even a transit ride or walking through campus a few times can be that physical health break that you need. So if Harp or Jennifer, you want to share how you've been staying physically active, or if people want to share in the chat, please do so.
Yeah, I guess I can share about myself. I started a Chloe Ting challenge, and that's been keeping me active out every day. But sometimes, okay, let me just show everybody what my standing desk looks like. I made like a makeshift cheap standing desk. It's literally like a bunch of boxes. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? It's like a bunch of boxes stacked together, and then I just put my laptop on top of it, and then I stand up, and then sometimes I like do jumping jacks while I'm in a meeting. I'm not doing that today because I guess I'm feeling kind of lazy. But yeah, that's been helping me stay physically active. I'm gonna read out some things in the chat, and then maybe Harp, you can share what you've been doing. So some people said walking daily, exercise bike, sometimes arm workouts, and juggling. That's so cool. I've been trying to learn, but it's not going very well. But I use socks. I don't know if it counts. Okay, and then the next person says, been walking every morning with my dad before work. Oh, it's nice bonding time. Skateboarding around my neighborhood. Nike Training Club app for at-home workouts every morning. Oh my gosh. I use Nike Run Club. Every time my friend beats me, I have to go outside. Even if it's raining, I have to go outside and beat them. I'm super competitive. Walking Sydney Cummings workout videos. Ooh, that's interesting. I also go for a walk every day and stretch before bed at night. Oh, it's so cool to hear that you were an athlete in high school. Sometimes I dance during lectures. That's creative. I like that. Dance workouts. And somebody laughed at me for using socks to juggle, but I didn't, like, what else was I supposed to use? Harp, do you want to share how you've been keeping physically active?
Yeah. So before I became a social worker, I was a soccer coach. So I love playing soccer. So I still do that recreationally with my cousins. But since COVID, I haven't been able to go to the gym or go swimming because I'm a gym person. So what I did was order on Amazon some dumbbells and some stretching bands, and I've ordered like ab workouts. And so me and my cousin, we both train together twice a week. And then I do hiking. I have dogs. Like I just play outside. I just try to be as creative as possible. But I'm the kind of person that doesn't like a specific routine. I like changing it up, and I like an idea of juggling. That sounds really cool.
Thank you everyone for sharing that. I have not tried dance workouts during lecture, so maybe I'll try that. These are good suggestions.
Yeah, or hula hoop. Whoever said juggling has made me think of hula hoop because I think that would be fun too. Hula hoop. Yeah.
Gotta be creative.
Yeah.
Oh,
Self-compassion. So if you're comfortable, I'd like to get everybody to close their eyes And begin taking a couple of deep breaths in and out. And as you close your eyes and as you breathe, I want you to shift your perspective and remember a time when you or yourself were disappointed, feeling upset, or stressed, when something didn't go your way that you had imagined. I want you to think back and remember how you treated yourself in that situation and what kind of words you said to yourself, how you reacted, and overall, what approach did you take to help yourself move forward? Give yourself a couple of minutes to reflect on what I've just said, and you do not need to share if you don't feel comfortable. And as you reflect and process and feel comfortable, I'm going to invite you guys to open your eyes. And maybe if, as some of you guys are comfortable to perhaps write in the chat box even how you're feeling and how, and maybe even share if you're comfortable.
Okay, so in the chat, somebody says, I tend to blame myself when things go wrong. In psychology, that's called internal locus of control, right?
So when you said that to yourself, how did you react to yourself, and what did you do to take and move forward?
Yeah, and I think, going back to our conversation on self-compassion, we can tell why it's such a big topic, from our previous conversation in the last hour, and how
But
not
maybe
feeling guilty about that. Yeah.
exactly. And maybe I'll actually just provide you guys with some insight to how to become more self-compassionate. Just a little recap again. One strategy is to comfort your body, okay? And eat something healthy, lie down, ensure that you have good rest, massage your neck, massage your feet and your hands, go take a walk, anything that you, or juggle, anything that you can do to feel physical gives you a dose of self-compassion, okay? Another that we talked earlier is write a letter to yourself. Maybe in that letter, and I'm going to give a random example, so this is nothing, it doesn't have to relate to you guys, but write a letter to yourself and maybe describe a situation that caused you pain. An example, maybe a breakup, a failed exam, or a poorly received presentation. Write a letter to yourself describing the situation without blaming yourself, without blame. Okay. And without blaming anyone in that situation. Acknowledge how you're feeling in that letter. Okay. And another one is to give yourself encouragement. So if something bad or painful is happening to you, think of what you would say to a good friend of yours if something similar happened to them or him or her. And direct those same compassionate words of wisdoms and responses that you would give your friend or a person you love who's super close to you. And I want you to give that same to yourself. Okay. And lastly, practice mindfulness. And practicing mindfulness is really important because it allows us to practice a non-judgmental observation to our own thoughts, our own feelings, and our own actions without actually suppressing them. And I said earlier today, when you look in the mirror, oops, I apologize for that. Sorry about that, guys. Zoom. So for example, when you look in the mirror every single day and you don't like what you see, accept the bad with the good, with the compassionate attitude. Okay. And, you know, and these type of skills is actually going to help you draw on your strengths and find more positive meaning in your life. Okay.
I'm just gonna read out a few comments in the chat. So somebody says a lot of journal entries and giving themselves a break from school a bit helps. And I said, yeah, I love journaling because writing down my thoughts helps me process things a lot. Someone else said, I tend to punish myself or tell myself that I'm not good at anything. Luckily, I've worked a lot on having a support group and with a psychologist and trying to allow myself to feel while also trying to be rational.
Yeah, those are really great. So Harp, if you want to speak a little bit about this quote that you added in, or we can also just go into our subject on normalcy bias.
Exactly. Yeah. So basically, that quote that we had earlier is just, you're imperfect and you're wired for struggle, but you are worthy of love and belonging. So I absolutely appreciate Brene Brown. She's constantly, her quotes and her books are really great. So acknowledge that as a human being, we're just not perfect. Be proactive, and it's okay to say no, and it's okay to set boundaries. Okay. And we'll move into normalcy bias. And Husan and I were talking last week about, you know, reflecting as a practitioner on how can we normalize the negative emotions we feel? How can we make the extraordinary and difficult seem ordinary and engage with the spectrum of normalcy? And so we were thinking about normalcy bias and, you know, ways we can create narratives to challenge the perception of mental illness. You know, research indicates that a lot of individuals who live with psychological disorders and distress experience the experience shame. They experience the carrying of burden and misconceptions about mental illness. They experience stigma, social isolation, and often these ideals are internalized. So how do we successfully overcome this? And, you know, it's really important to normalize your mental health experience and knowing that you're not alone, promoting that strength-based perspective to reduce that self-stigma. So incorporating what we've discussed about self-compassion, you know, being very self-compassionate and loving towards yourself. Storytelling, being comfortable, being vulnerable with somebody, whether it be your counselor, case manager, friend, colleague, being psychological safe to do so. You know, and it's important to feel safe to share your story. And also reframing where the emotions or situations are recasting in our mind. So, you know, for example, reframing that undesirable emotion or a reason to a more consistent emotion that is towards your personal goal and culture. And if we go into our next slide, that's, you know, this slide basically, you know, how do we reframe our thoughts? It's about really understanding your thought patterns, because how you think is going to actually determine how you feel and how you behave. So perspective is key. We all know that people who have the world at their feet, but are dissatisfied, and we know people who have a lot of hardship but are happy. The lens through which we look at life has such a profound impact on how we feel and how we think and how we behave. So always be mindful about understanding your thought patterns. Okay. So does anybody have any questions about this, and something maybe we can dig a little bit deeper, and how do we measure critical habits, which will be in our next slide. Awesome.
Yeah, for the sake of time, Harp, I just want to, you know, give a quick recap that we have about 2 minutes. So yeah, do what you can with that time.
Exactly. So we're going to be really quick here. So how do you measure your critical habits? And we've kind of emphasized this in the previous slides. Reflective awareness, identify your thoughts, dig deep, seek context to yourself to allow an opportunity for transformation. Okay. And now we are going to, Hussein, I'll give it to you to go to the next slide.
Yeah, so we're just gonna skip through this section for the sake of time because I know we are all busy bees, but here's just another reminder for you to be reflective, take opportunities to take up journaling or just take a minute for yourself to think about your life and to reflect on how best you can improve your mental well-being for life success. So we're just going to quickly go through some resources, and then I have a quick survey for you if you're able to. So my SSP, if you're not familiar, is a free service to support positive mental health in students. It's available 24/7 via an app or phone for all SFU students. It's available in multiple languages, in-person appointments, and it's been quite a good alternative for people who don't feel like in person, or it's a good alternative given the post-COVID campus. So if you aren't aware of this is a great service to seek a counselor, and you're able to sort through the ones that are best suited for your needs. That's what I found has been a great asset.
And if we can go to the slide for health and counseling, just to give a 1-minute overview, you may also self-refer to health and counseling services. We have a team of doctors, psychologists, mental health nurses, case managers, and clinical counselors who are there to help you meet the challenges and support you in achieving your academic and personal potential. Okay, so we have the number in on the slide exactly where to call, whether it be in Burnaby or Vancouver, and just to be mindful that most of our services are being offered over video or phone, and supports are all available by calling ahead of time to book an appointment. Okay, and yeah.
Yeah, and again, below is some links to understanding what other health promotion workshops, or we call them self-directed resources, you have to support your well-being. Harp herself is an access case manager, so you might be put in contact with her, or if you need assistance in navigating the health and counseling services process. So there is more relevant information that can be helpful in your journey. We also have Bouncing Forward, which is a online Canvas course, again, to provide you with practical skills on improving your resilience, stress management skills. It is also a CCR approved Canvas course. So it gives you a little recognition at the end of your degree with I did this approved SFU course. And it really does provide you with great skills if you are curious. So we have a 2-question Mentimeter feedback opportunity. So if all of you can very quickly go to this hyperlink, or if you want to scan it with your phone, the QR code, you can do so there. What you should see is, or maybe I'll screen share it. Stop share.
I put the link in the chat.
Yes.
And also somebody is asking how you gain access to that Bouncing Forward Canvas course.
Yes, so Bouncing Forward Canvas course. So if you go to, and I'll share this link in the chat as well. I can send you it's going to be a hyperlink in the chat. So just give me 1 second. So have all of you gained access to the Mentimeter? So what you'll see on the screen is as a result of this workshop, and then 4 little options, the results are hidden. So please don't, just remember it's totally anonymous, and we take your feedback very seriously in improving our workshops going into the future. I have two monitors going on, so it's quite confusing when I don't know what's being shared or yeah, so forgive me for some tech delays.
That honestly goes. I wish I had two monitors.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to adapt to online times, and it's not working great, but it's like it helped a little bit if you are looking into that.
Yeah, you're exercising self-compassion by being forgiving
Yes,
of
of my
yourself.
purchase. Yes,
Yeah.
great.
So hard on ourselves. It'd be really great to end this session by saying one lovely thing about ourselves instead of to each other. Let's liberate ourselves, and I want to empower myself, all of you, to either share something that practices self-compassion or say it to yourself, whatever feels comfortable.
Yeah, and if you go back to your Mentimeter, there is one last question asking, what is your biggest takeaway from this session? And what would you recommend to enhance this session? So any feedback on this would be super wonderful. That is the last part of our workshop. So I personally want to say thank you for all of you for attending. This 1 hour was hopefully an opportunity for you to reflect on your own well-being, learn some skills in online learning, and kind of feel some camaraderie within other students in terms of the collective struggle that we have, and continue pushing and continue succeeding both academically and non-academically. Again, I will pull up a slide on HCS services, so feel free to look at the chat in the next few minutes. But yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, and this workshop is being recorded. I will send the recording link once it's up. I will send it to everybody and send an email to people. And it'll be on the SFSS YouTube channel. And then in the chat, I said I complimented myself, saying that my memes are really good. And Harp also complimented herself, saying that she's a great cat mom. So I encourage you all to compliment yourself, maybe at least once today. And then we have a bunch of people saying thank you for the workshop. Yeah, so I'm going to stop the recording.